All right, this ain't just a show. This is a platform. Veteran built, battle tested. Welcome to the MisFitNation. Yeah! In a room, built from boots on the ground, now we breaking the rules. 2 vets, 1 leader, painting the sound, turn scars into sermons, let them echo around. Artists with truth, musicians with fire, actors backstage chasing something higher. Entrepreneurs bleeding just to get ahead. If you fought for your dream, yeah, you are what you said. If they told you no, if you still came back, if you fell to your knees but you stayed on track, this is your voice, this is your flame. Say it loud, remember the name. No salvation, just elevation. We rise again. From the fight to the end. We are the Misfit Nation. No damn labels, no damn cages. If you're still breathing, you belong. Turn it up. This is our song. Yeah. This is our song. Yeah. Veterans standing with ghosts in the chest. First responders running in while the world second guess. Gold star names carved deep in the soul. Your story ain't over, we carry the whole. Coaches teaching mindset, breaking the chains, turning barely alive into owning the pain. Truth over polish, scars on display. If it's real, let it bleed. That's the misfit play. If it's heavy right now, in the dark feels close. If it's heavy right now, in the dark feels close. If it's heavy right now, in the dark feels close. It's Aubrey right now. We're the more than you know. 9888, don't walk alone. Veterans press 1, bring it home. Don't trade forever for tonight. You're still needed in this fight. We're the Misfit Nation, built from scars and dedication. We rise again. From the fight to the end. We are the Misfit Nation. Every voice is fabrication. From the silence to the scream, we're strong. Welcome home, you belong. You belong. You belong. Oh wait, you. Oh wait,
you belong. All right. Welcome back to the Misfit Nation and the Sunday after dinner show. We know you can be doing many other things tonight, but you choose to hang out with us. If you are in harm's way with these storms coming through, make sure all your phones are charged, you have your bug out bag, and you're listening to whoever your favorite prognosticator is for where the weather's coming from. Ryan Hall is doing a great job on his channel right now. Go ahead, give him a shout out and look at what he's forecasting for your areas. Tonight we'll start off by paying homage to our Alabama Air National Guard 117th Air Refueling Wing, Major John A. Clinner, Captain Ariana G. Savino, Tech Sergeant Ashley B. Pruitt, Captain Seth R. Koval, Captain Curtis J. Angst, and Tech Sergeant Tyler H. Simmons, all lost in a midair collision with another KC-135 while supporting Operation Epic Fury. Let's keep their unit, their friends, their peers, their families, most of all, in your thoughts and prayers as they go through this tumultuous, quick change in their lives. I know they understand the threat is there. Something bad could happen to them on their way to and from mission, but it's not something they think will really happen. So let's think about them as they go through this time, and think about all our soldiers, sailors, Marines, airmen, and space force fellas over there in harm's way and doing the work for our military at this time. Tonight, we welcome back to the Misfit Nation Shamika White. She's the executive director of the Rod Lemon Foundation, an organization dedicated to helping veterans rediscover connection, purpose, and mental wellness after military service. Her work centers on a powerful belief that service does not end when the uniform comes off. Through leadership, advocacy, and community building, she's helping veterans redefine strength and find their mission again in civilian life. So without further ado, let's welcome back Shamika White. Welcome back, Shamika.
Hey, Rich, how are you? Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
It's great to have you on. When you said you had updates, I said, let's have her back on and bring her on to the big show. So thank you for coming on, and all the way from just south of us in Talladega. Again,
Talladega, Alabama here.
You're bracing for storms. We're bracing for storms, and hopefully we all just get through it with nothing. Still hear me?
I can. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to. I want to put my notes up here so I can see them. As we start going tonight. Right. I am really excited about some of the new things that we have going on. One thing that we had started looking at last year was the fact that so many of programs specifically for veterans are very male veteran focused. So this year we have launched a new initiative. We're calling it our Women Warrior Wednesdays, where we are bringing in female service members, former service, current service, whatever that might look like, for a networking event, and free meal one time a month. So it kind of gives everybody a chance to sit down and share their stories. What we figured out really quickly is that when you are a mom or a wife that has prior military service, and you are surrounded by other moms, sometimes you really don't feel like you fit in very well. So it gives our females a chance to sit down with a group of like-minded women who can share their experience and kind of helps build that community specifically for our female veterans. Another thing that we have, and I'm super excited about this is something I've been working on for about 1.5 years. In October, we are launching our very first or our inaugural Rally Point weekend. So we'll be bringing veterans in from October 9th until the 11th to have a great weekend of camping and fishing. There's going to be some mental health support there. We have ATVs. Hopefully we're going to have some equine therapy. And hopefully it'll be a really good opportunity for some people to get some community building in.
That'll be awesome. And will that be in Anniston or Talladega or somewhere right around there?
It is. So back in 2023, one of our board members actually purchased 216 undeveloped acres very near the site of former Fort McClellan. And we've sat and we've looked at it. We had a lot of plans for it, but we knew that one of the things that we were really going to implement on the property was Transcend 214. So it's been a little while in the making, but we are definitely ready to kick off. Just throwing this out, we are still looking for sponsorship and partners for that particular event. But we're very excited. I think we're going to be able to host 12 this year. So more than likely we'll do that with a lottery system where we open that up nationally to anyone that's interested. And then we will go in and pull out those 12 based on the lottery.
That's outstanding. Fun fact, I went to basic training at Fort McClellan and hosted a race there for about a decade after the base closed. The Haley's Team 5K Twilight Run for a cure for cystic fibrosis. And so very connected to that area. I have two godsons that are in Jacksonville, so I know the area well.
It is definitely a beautiful area. We are actually right past the National Guard Training Center on the left. If you're headed back towards Jacksonville. So let's say we have a tremendous property, and we've worked really hard over the past couple of years to get the property prepared for our event. So we've had ATV trails cut. Our ponds are ready to go. It's gonna be a good time, I hope.
I bet. That's a beautiful area, beautiful wooded area in that little section right there. I used to live right across from the National Guard section on the other side of the road there. Behind, I think it was Lee's Barbecue or something.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where I used to live.
So not too far from us at all. We're bordered on the front side by Highway 21, on the back side by Blarney Drive in Weaver, and then Goat Farm Road on the Sachs side of. So it is a very large property.
That's huge. Yeah, that's amazing. And tell us a little bit about Transcend 214. How you came up with the name and what it does.
So Transcend 214 was kind of my brainchild when I started, or when I took over leadership in 2023. I was working for an international company that had some businesses that were headquartered here in Anniston. I had the opportunity to meet Rod, who the foundation is named after. He's just an exceptional person. He's a Navy veteran. And one day we were talking, and he's like, "If you could just do anything, what would you do?" And I was like, "Oh, like that's easy. I would do like this veterans program, and I would focus on, veteran homelessness and all these things." So we kind of started working on some things way before I ever made the move into nonprofit full time. But it was just kind of in my spare time. And I used to joke and tell him that he couldn't afford me. And he would always say, "Hey, you're going to come work for me." And long story short, he still can't afford me, but I do work now. And it has been the most rewarding thing I've ever done. When we started talking about Transcend and what the program itself was going to look like, we knew we wanted to pay homage to the DD 214. Everybody knows the separation documents, unless you're National Guard and got that NGB 22. But the DD 214 is one of the most recognized documents across all branches of service. And Transcend, of course, is to rise above what that DD 214 was or is. So, one of the things that we kind of have addressed, or we work on addressing, is really what happens with your mission after service. I feel like military is a culture that's so mission driven, and then one day you just don't have that anymore, and it's very easy to kind of get lost in that civilian fray because you lose a lot of your identity. So what we do is we are working with our veterans to help them find out who they are and how to continue that mission outside of their military service. And that may look like leadership within the community. It may look like volunteer opportunities. It may look like mentorship. And even how to function better in the civilian world regarding their workforce or what that looks like. One of the complaints that I heard the most often when I was still with NFI was civilian workforce is really different than the military. When you're in the military, you kind of have like that discipline that goes, and the civilian workforce is not necessarily like that. And a lot of our military members struggle with that transition because of the lack of discipline just within the civilian sector. Okay, I've lost my audio. I'm not hearing you.
I think I got it now.
Okay, we're good.
We're good now. All right. I think the biggest thing that our veterans face when they leave, they go into that civilian world, and it's structure versus non-structure.
Yes.
And most military days, you know exactly what you're doing, what you have to get done, and you can do the amount of work that a civilian will do in 40 hours, in 8 hours in that one day in the military. And then you transition out, and you're told, "Hey, you have maybe 2 weeks to get this job done." And you don't know how to do that, and you don't know how to function, and you try to slow yourself down, and it just doesn't work. And that's why many veterans don't make it past a year in that first job, and it's mostly because they don't fit in, they don't find that purpose there.
Well, I think that there's some things, right? Like, I think that the civilian structure, like especially like a corporate civilian structure, there's no clear delineation. Like, what are you working toward? What are you responsible for? And like, really, how does like what you're doing matter in the big course of things? And I think that when you're serving, you kind of have those ideas every day, like exactly what you're doing, and then you move into the civilian sector, and there's just like you said, it's just kind of lacking that structure and that discipline. So, that's actually one of the things that is tied very strongly to military suicide rates. When a lot of veterans, when they feel like that mission disappears after discharge, they just feel like they've lost their purpose, and that happens so quickly. It's very hard to figure out who you are after military service. Your service is a huge part of your identity. You can say, I'm a Marine. I'm a soldier. then one day you're just not. And once a Marine, always a Marine, and I understand that. But you understand what I'm saying. It's the idea that you wake up one day and you are just not who you've been for all that time before. Like, you're just another person. And I think that transition is very hard for a lot of people.
It definitely is. We had a comment from another former guest, Jane Babcock. She was on the show, I think, about 2 months ago now. Said, "Hi, Rich. As a female retiree who continued the family connection by being a CVSO for 11 and a half years, she totally agrees with Shamika. Military service is an adoption contract that binds us together for life. The desire to serve and protect others is ingrained in us, which is why so many choose to service others after service." And thank you for your service. So yeah, she's on Team Shamika there. So
Thank you, Jane. I appreciate that. I always like when people are on Team Shamika. So, the thing is those identity disruptors can cause, depression, feelings of uselessness, like loss of self-worth. And then, that leads to isolation and some of the other things that sometimes we see around mental health. I think you guys know that's something that we have focused very, very adamantly on over the past couple of years is different ways to address mental health. We know a lot of veterans just generally don't trust the VA. I'm not knocking the VA at all. It's a great resource. I hope you guys are taking advantage of what you have available to you. But we see that a lot specifically around mental health, where some of our veterans don't particularly want to deal with the VA when it comes to mental health or mental health support.
Definitely. A lot of it is the time it takes to get an appointment throws people off. And then the second portion is when you go to an appointment, you're probably not going to see the same doctor more than once. So you'll start this whole process with that one doctor, and then they'll make an appointment for, say, let's just throw a number up there, 2 months later. And in 2 months, that doctor already left. So now you have another doctor who is going to go through that same entrance again with you, and you start over. And most veterans do not like to have to repeat themselves and do everything over and over and over again. So they kind of just go out into the community and hope that someone will help them.
Well, I think that's one of the most common things that I hear actually is not seeing the same counselor, the same therapist on a regular basis.
Right.
I think that's really important when it comes to the way that we address our mental health. We develop rapport, and we have to be able to trust the person that we're trauma dumping onto. So if you are dealing with a different person every couple of months, of course, you don't have time to develop that rapport. Another thing that we hear is the time it takes to get appointments or appointments being scheduled or canceled after, and I hear this a lot, like, well, I got to the VA today and found out that my appointment was canceled. I can't tell you how many spiral phone calls that we take because, somebody will call and say, hey, you're not going to believe this. I've had this appointment scheduled for 6 months. I got there today and they told me that my appointment was rescheduled. Another thing is medications, and medications not working the way that a veteran feels like maybe they should. We are huge proponents for something called gene site testing. If you guys are interested, I would be glad to share additional information, but I'll give you a very brief overview. Gene site testing essentially takes a buccal swab. Within about 48 hours, you have a complete list of psychotropic medications that will or will not work for you metabolically. It allows a veteran to advocate for themselves within the VA system. So I think a lot of you guys recognize that sometimes your medications are kind of based on what the drug of the day is. That may be what they've got the most free samples of. And, there's some medication swapping. So I think that there's a lot of power in being able to say, hey, that particular drug will not work for me metabolically, but here's a list of drugs that will. So we really encourage our vets to look into gene site testing to see if that's something that they may be able to use to advocate for themselves within the system.
Is that something that's referenced on the website?
So I found out about gene site testing through a counselor friend of mine who is also a veteran. And she was like, hey, like, have you ever heard of this? And so I reached out to the rep and I started asking questions. So what I can tell you is there's a website. It's like GeneSight testing, and the company is actually called GeneSight, GENE. But it kind of breaks down the way that the payment works. So if you have Blue Cross Blue Shield, United Healthcare, anything like that, most of the time Blue Cross Blue Shield is going to cover that. Community care and or TRICARE will not cover GeneSight testing. So because they recognize the value in what they're doing, they guarantee that you will not pay out of pocket more than $275 for your testing. So you pay $275 for your test and they send it off. Now you do have to go through a provider. I have a list of providers here in Calhoun County, Alabama, but if you are outside of that area and you are looking for a GeneSight tester, once again, I know that Rich is going to throw some stuff up at the end of the podcast. Feel free to reach out and I will get that information for you. I think that it is really, really important that we're exploring every option that we can so that we are as healthy as we can be.
Definitely. I think I found the right one, genesight.com. Put it in the chat there already. Hopefully it's the right one. Hopefully it's not something that sells them something to make them go to China or something, but hopefully it's the right website.
We'll cross our fingers.
Yeah.
Another thing that we're exploring right now, and I don't really have enough information to present on this all the way across the board, but in May, every Thursday in May, we do a webinar series that is focused on veteran wellness. So we talk about mental health outside of the VA box. Last year, we were able to bring in a group that offered psilocybin treatments. That was a really interesting hour. Ways that if you were interested in doing those treatments, ways that you could do that. We talked about accelerated resolution therapy, which was actually our most popular webinar last year. And we have had more people that participated in that webinar reach out to participate in accelerated resolution therapy than anything else that we offered last year. We have a phenomenal provider in a different state. She cannot treat, but she can consult. And she does that at no cost. If you guys are not familiar with accelerated resolution therapy, just kind of in a nutshell, what it does is it helps you reimagine your trauma. It helps your brain kind of bridge that gap. So, for example, if you know that your house is white with black shutters, it helps you reimagine your house as pink with purple polka dots. The cool thing about accelerated resolution is there is tons of studies out of the University of Florida that kind of talk about what that looks like. So most combat-related PTSD veterans only need about 3 sessions. And after those 3 sessions, they're showing marked improvement at the 1-year mark. So the reduction in symptomology is just incredible. Coolest things about it, you do not share your trauma with your counselor. She doesn't want to know. They don't ask any questions. That's between you and what's going on in your head. What they do is they help you to imagine that, and then they actually help you reframe that without ever speaking anything of your trauma out loud. And I think that that's really powerful. This year we're focusing on a lot of peer-to-peer. And then we also have someone presenting this year on neuropeptides, which are just, injectables that you can acquire from certain doctors. And the neuropeptides, if I understand this correctly, trauma causes certain types of channels within your brain. So it keeps different synapses from talking to each other adequately. So, like if you've got A and B that are talking, they've been talking fantastically for years, and then all of a sudden the Grand Canyon is between them. So what the neuropeptides do, from my understanding, is they help amplify A so that B can hear it better. So it bridges that gap. It's fascinating stuff. Like I said, I don't have enough information to talk about it in length, but if you guys will join us in May, our presenter will have that information. So I think that's going to be really, really cool.
And what's the date for that in May?
So I do not have the dates set up for particular presenters with the exception of one. On May the 7th, we're going to be talking about peer-to-peer and transition. So either May the 14th, May the 21st, or May the 28th, we will be sharing the neuropeptides. So like every Thursday in May, we'll be presenting something. So they're free webinars. It's really cool. We do kind of an open forum. So the presenters will present, but we, leave everything open so you can ask questions. If you choose to come in anonymously, the only person that knows that you're in that room is me. The only person that knows who you are is me. So you don't have to cut on your camera. You can put in, John Doe as your name if that's what you choose. But I do ask that you be honest with me when you sign up, because that helps me in the long run. It's just part of the nonprofit business side. But you can come in and you can be part of a really cool group. We averaged about 24, 25 people per webinar last year. I'm hoping to see better numbers than that this year. We can host several hundred. And we'll be putting out additional information on that on our Facebook page, hopefully on our website, and then also on our TikTok. So you guys check us out.
Awesome, man. We are live on TikTok now. So if your followers are on TikTok, you can say hello to them.
So hello. I haven't been doing much with my TikTok lately, but if you are not following Transcend 214 on TikTok, please do, as we will be pushing out some information very soon.
Outstanding. And to sign up for it, you just go through the Facebook link that'll have the webinar link on there. Sign up. You can do it anonymous, but give you the truthful information. The
truthful information. And look, guys, I don't capture a lot of demographic information. I'm going to ask your name, your email, your phone number, and name. Oh, and the city and state that you're in. Last year, I think we had more participants from Texas than any other place, which is really cool because we're actually branching out to Texas now. We're in the process of starting a Transcend 214 arm in Texas, in the Houston area.
How many states are you guys in now?
So we are technically a national nonprofit. We could work anywhere. We are located in Anniston, Alabama. Interestingly enough, most of the reach out that we've gotten around like homelessness has been outside of Alabama. But most of like the home repairs and things like that we've done over the past 2 years have been in different parts of Alabama. So we kicked off this year doing a veteran and his family down in Gulf Shores, Alabama.
Wow.
And absolutely phenomenal. Guys, like it was so exciting. We partnered with Home Depot, like Team Depot. They were amazing. Warrior Legacy Ranch out of Robertsdale, Alabama. So shout out to Patrick Jump. And a new organization called Vet Cola out of Pensacola, Florida. So, they were able to provide volunteers, and it was amazing, like to see that many people come together and get that much work done in a single day. It was mind-boggling. Absolutely mind-boggling to see that many people volunteering their time. And we're so very thankful for all the people that came out in January.
That's outstanding. And it's always good to see a large corporation like Home Depot give back, and they give back in a lot of ways to many organizations. So I know their volunteer spirit is there at Home Depot, and whether it's just goods or their employees come out and work as well and jump in and they swing hammers or move debris. They're great. They're a great organization, great people.
So one thing that I didn't know, and I'm going to, like I said, just shout out Team Depot a little bit. When those volunteers come out, they're on their own time. They're not on the clock. And I, in my mind, thought that they just pulled people like randomly from the store. Like I've always thought that. That is not. They sign up. They say, hey, we want to volunteer for this project. And those people are out there like literally just giving their time for free. I think Team Depot had like 30 volunteers in Gulf Shores. They said it was the biggest volunteer group that they had in like ever out of that particular store. And guys, it was just unreal. We were able to do 3 sides of privacy fence, but we had pallets of sod donated. And these guys got out, like we had this backyard ripped up, everything done, and all this sod relayed in, maybe half a day on the sod. It was, wow, like they just deserve all the praise, because it was really cool to work out there with that many excited people.
Definitely. It's always good to see that and see the large number of people come out, and not just maybe just you and your crew, and
Right.
have a lot of people come out there and donate their time. Time
Mhm.
is the most valuable thing. You can't get that back, and giving it to a purpose like that, helping a fellow veteran, is something a lot of other veterans would probably jump in to help as well.
Well, that's something that we really do encourage. When you are trying to figure out who you are, being able to give back, um, like that goes a long way. And one thing that we have figured out, just over the past couple, or I've figured out over the past couple of years, you guys have probably known this forever, but one thing that I've realized over the past couple of years is veterans support other veterans. So, when we've had something come up and I'm trying to scramble to, yeah, I mean, we're a small nonprofit. There's always a little bit of a scramble when somebody calls and says, "Hey, like we've got XYZ problem. Is that something that you can address?" And I'm trying to figure out how we're going to eat that elephant, like that one bite at a time, but where that first bite's coming from. I've got a phenomenal network of veterans just within our Calhoun County area that have been great about stepping up, whether it's offering time, resources, sponsorships, like that. That is amazing to me. Like I feel like you guys want to support each other, and sometimes like you don't know how or like where that outlet might be. So we're always looking for volunteers. Anytime that anybody's interested, I will find something for you to do. I promise. We have something going on almost all the time.
I forget the full number of veterans in the Calhoun County area, but I know it's a large number. A lot of former Chemical Corps people retired there. A lot of former MPs retired there,
That
especially when
is
the base was active. So a lot of people either retired there, left, and came back to retire. So there's a ton of people there. It's a great community, the whole area. So I
it
loved
really
it when I stayed there.
is. We do have like a strong veteran community, but unfortunately, it's kind of odd. Like for us to have such a strong veteran community, we really don't have a lot of nonprofit that focuses specifically on veteran needs. We're kind of twofold because we do have like a community outreach and development where we do financial literacy, entrepreneurship, credit repair, things that kind of build the community, on that level. But then, of course, we also have Transcend, and like it's a different area. Like Anniston, Calhoun County is just a different area. It's taken me a little time to kind of um, like find my rhythm with Anniston. So, but it's a great place. I'm so thankful that we have the support that we do out there. I've figured out we've been a nonprofit since 2014, and in 2023 when I came in, I figured out really quickly that Rod is. I think he's like a lot of former military. He was kind of like moving in the background. Really didn't want the accolade of like the things that he was doing within the community. He was just very happy to do some things and then just like not let anybody know. So it's wild to me that there were so many people that just didn't know that we even existed in our immediate area. And so I feel like it's weird because we've been there for so long, but a lot of people feel like we just kind of came out of nowhere 2 years ago.
Wow.
So it's different.
And that's usually one of the major problems within the veteran community is if most of us don't ask for help. And if we do, we'll ask an organization like yourself for help, and then you broadcast it to get help for the person asking for help. And that's when they find out that, hey, our brother needed help all this time, didn't even ask. And that's how an organization like yours gets noticed, because no one knows you're there until the flag goes up.
Well, I mean, for us, I know you guys have heard this story before. We talked about this when I did Tuesday Crew several months ago. Um, like anybody that knows me knows that I hit the ground running. I get up in the morning, I am wide open until I go to bed at night, and sometimes that's very late. My son is actually deployed right now, and he is a true single dad. So he has a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old, and I have custody of the girls right now, which, by the way, I'm a little out of practice. But it's been a wild year. So last year I got the flu. At the beginning of 24, I got the flu. And I was scrolling TikTok and I came across a veteran on TikTok that, like, honestly was just at the end of his rope. And I felt like when I was watching the TikTok, like I don't like, pushing religion, and we are not a religious organization, but I just really felt like God was telling me, like, hey, you need to reach out to this guy. So I don't typically, like, message people on TikTok because I just think that's kind of cringy. But I did send him a message and I said, hey, like, we're here and we may be able to help you. What I didn't know at the time was that video ended up going viral, and I think he picked up 260,000 followers just off that video. And then he kind of started talking about what our organization was doing, and it really, like, weirdly helped launch. Transcend existed, but it really kind of helped put that on the forefront for a lot of people. And I'm so thankful for that, because so many of the people that we've worked with over the past 2 years have been from TikTok reach outs. So I do respond to messages, by the way, just so people know, if you do need something, or if you're outside of the state of Alabama, I can't always help, but I can always try to tie you into a resource that will be able to work with you.
That's something we say here. We may not know the actual person from here, but we know a resource close to you.
Yeah.
And we'll make sure you get the help you need, or we'll stay on the line until that resource gets there. So we know you're with us.
Yeah. So that's exactly what we do, Rich. Like, we try to do a soft handoff. I don't like the idea of vetting someone to send them to another organization to be re-vetted.
Right.
So we try, if it's something that's outside of my immediate purview, like I can't address that. I can't immediately hand you off to somebody. I'm just going to sit with you. We're going to hang out together until we figure out your problem. That TikTok itself has been a great opportunity for us as a smaller nonprofit to be able to network in with other smaller nonprofits or just other organizations throughout the country. And we've developed some really great friendships with veterans outside of the state of Alabama, with other organizations outside of the state of Alabama. And that's a powerful thing. That's the power of community. So if you are a veteran and you are interested in social media and you are not using TikTok, like, I encourage you to find the vet side of TikTok. There's a whole community there of people who will love you and support you if you'll allow them to.
Definitely. Jake chimed in from Tuesday Crew. The girls sound like they're having a great time. I guess I can hear them too, but
they're downstairs. That's what's even worse. Like, they are downstairs in a completely different part of the house. Can you imagine if I was sitting downstairs?
Good Lord. I thought there was someone running outside my house for a while. I kept looking behind me. Glad that you said they were yours. I said, I'm not going crazy. But at least they have energy, and that shows they're having a good time. They're staying with you, and you're doing good by just having them there. And hopefully your son gets home soon and successfully comes home soon.
I really hope so. We miss him, and, like, I really, really miss him because I am out of practice. And it's been crazy, man. I had forgotten what it was like to have, like, a kindergartner and a toddler or preschool. I don't know if she's a toddler now or if she's a preschooler. She's 3. But man, some of the stuff they come out with is crazy. I just have forgotten how much fun that is. It is a lot of fun, and it's a lot of work. And I'm thankful that he trusted me enough to leave his girls with me. And I'm thankful for him and his choice to serve. That's an elite group of young men and women. And, I feel like I did something right.
He obviously did. And obviously he made it. So that gives him all the trust in the world for you to take care of his 2 little angels as they go through some formative years of their own, and have you there taking care of them at that right.
Angels may be a misnomer, but like, some form of maybe.
We do have a question from the audience in here. This is from Jally Boom. What inspired your commitment to helping veterans navigate life after military service?
Okay, that is actually a really good question. So I am from a strong military family. My great grandfather is a Purple Heart recipient. Excuse me, my grandfather is a Purple Heart recipient from the Battle of the Bulge. My great grandfather is also a World War II veteran. Both of my uncles are Vietnam vets. It's just part of who we are. I'm from a very small town in Alabama, and I'm of a certain age, and I remember a time where we were proud to be Americans collectively. I just don't remember a time like this. I was proud that my papa served. I was proud that my granddaddy served. I was proud of my uncles. We always respected them and looked up to them because they made the decision to sign on the dotted line. For me, it was a no-brainer when I was with the company that I was with prior to nonprofit. It was during DEI, and we had a push to hire so many veterans. So essentially, and I don't know, this is like a sticky topic, so I just want to be really careful about how I approach that. But demographically, we were asked to hire people based on the demographics of our community, right? So if Calhoun County has 8,956 veterans, then we needed to hire a proportionate number of veterans into our company based on the number of people that worked at that particular facility. What I saw when we started working on that push was I was getting like entry level applications for people who were not entry level employees. I think I actually told this story before, but we had a man who literally had applied for every entry level position we had, from the janitor to, like just the lowest of the low jobs that we had available. And when I was reviewing his resume, I was like, wow. So I reached back out to him and I said, hey, like I've got a project manager position open that I think you would be perfect for. We just need to kind of like go in and tweak your resume a little bit. So I realized then that sometimes there's a gap between being able to convey your military skill set into the civilian sector. And I think that kind of goes back to identity too, because he didn't know who he was at that point in time. He had just transitioned out. In his mind, he's just a guy that was in the Army and didn't recognize that he was a guy in the Army that was bringing, like these really high skill sets into the civilian sector. Like there's crisis response, there was leadership, logistical skills, technical expertise, like all these things are really beneficial in the civilian sector. So I think it was those things combined ultimately to answer the question. Was kind of what I was seeing when I was in talent acquisition, just in real time, and then the way that I was raised, to be proud to be an American, and let's say we were raised in a very patriotic environment.
Definitely. I think all of us in that age group were raised in that same environment of love America. I remember in 1976 and going to the 200th anniversary of our country in 1976, and going to see the tall ships in New York Harbor with my dad. And it was amazing because my dad was so proud to be an American. He served in the Army. His dad was too young to serve in World War I, too old to serve World War II. But he did whatever he could to help everyone else out and push that on. My other grandfather was in World War II as well. And that was just pushed into us. And now since the draft ended in Vietnam kind of spoiled a lot of things. And one of those things was patriotism. And because the angst of people, as media got bigger, now social media, it kind of puts things in people's heads that shouldn't be there. And social media is, on that aspect, is a rot on society and hurts a lot of people. And I think stunts the growth of our country, because we are on a good path, and we just have to be able to step back and look at it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, while I agree, I also know that there is not a person that I know personally that doesn't protect the right to have those opinions. I remember maybe 5 or 6 years ago, I was on a tangent about something around flag burning, and even my son was like, "Hey, that's their right." And he's like, I'm gonna, protect those people the same way that I protect anybody else. Like, and I think that's really what's important, to recognize is we don't have to. I'm trying to figure out how I want to say it. We don't have to tamper ourselves. Those of us who are proud to be American and are very patriotic. And I think that's kind of where social media has put us, where we have to kind of like tone ourselves down a little bit for somebody else's voice to be amplified. My voice can be just as amplified as yours is. It's our First Amendment right. I'm so thankful that we have a constitution that gives us both the right to do that. But I think that we've just been quieter over the past, maybe 10, 15 years. It seems like it's gotten really bad. Where people are just afraid to recognize or to identify themselves as patriots. And I am not. I love our country. I love our Constitution. Do I agree with everything that happens? Absolutely not. Like we don't live in a utopian society. But I'm very proud to be here, and I can't imagine being any other place in the world.
I love my country, and like you said, I don't have to agree with everybody. I can understand your point of view, and maybe we can talk it out. We can go get coffee, and we can sit down, and you can tell me your views, I can tell you mine, and somewhere in the middle, we're both trying to get the same thing. We're both trying to get the same thing. Just talk, and that's the thing that's missing. It's either you're keyboard commando, or you're being paid to protest about something you have no idea what you're protesting about. And those are people that are just blights on society right now.
I said, I could not agree with you more.
We got another question as we transition from that. This is from @SandyWaters. Why do so many veterans struggle with identity and purpose once they transition out of the military? Thank you, Sandy Waters.
So I think that's kind of a multi-phased answer. I think that you go from different things, like, you have an identity collapse. You recognize, when you're in the military, it's not just a job, like it's literally your identity, right? Like you don't hear somebody say, oh, I'm a light wheeled mechanic. They say I'm a soldier, I'm a U.S. Army, I'm a member of the U.S. Army, or, I'm a Marine. You don't, so you lose that part of your identity. So there's some identity collapse there. You're just another civilian when you come out. There is loss of tribe. I hate to kind of phrase it this way, but the military is kind of a little bit of a dependency culture, right? Like you're depending on the people around you to keep you safe. That's your team. You guys have shared hardships. There's the camaraderie, and those are the people that are keeping you accountable. And one day they're just not there anymore. You don't have those people surrounding you in the same way. And then, moving into the civilian sector, like I said, there, we kind of touched on that already. It's like that lack of like your role in the civilian sector and what that looks like, because you don't have an apparent chain of command or like super defined responsibilities or like even measurable outcomes.
Definitely. I was going to say we hit most of that on the head early on, but thankfully listeners jump in midways or halfway through, and we're able to reiterate that same point that finding purpose is very important, and finding yourself and who am I? Finding your why. To go even deeper into that, Simon Sinek said, know your why. Stay with that and understand what you're doing and find that purpose, and you'll know why you get to do something every day. You don't got to do it, you get to do it, and you'll find that along the way. And we got another one from Gulliver No Travel. What makes the Rod Lemon Foundation's approach to mental wellness different from traditional programs? Thank you.
I like that question too. Thank you, Gulliver. I feel like we do something a little bit different. So I think when you look at mental health programs tend to focus on like one aspect of mental health, whether that be cognitive behavioral therapy, peer-to-peer counseling. And I'll give a great example, which, by the way, It's a great resource. There's a group called 220, and 220 does something called trauma resiliency protocol, which is a form almost of EDMR, but it's peer to peer, and that's what they do. What we do is a little bit different, because I don't just say, hey, we're going to offer cognitive behavioral therapy, or we're going to talk to you about total resiliency protocol. Like, I'm going to put everything that I can find in front of you. And I think that that's kind of what makes us a little bit different, because if you're looking for something to help with your mental health journey, I want you to have all the options that you could possibly have in front of you, because even if one thing doesn't work for you, something that you're going to try is going to. It never hurts to try. We offer a lot of resources that are no cost. So I think that's the difference. We don't focus on one thing. We're focusing on everything. We're putting everything out for you guys.
Outstanding. That's awesome. And we'll take one last one from the audience before we start wrapping her up here. From Do It Now. What message would you give to a veteran who feels like they've lost their sense of mission after leaving the military? Thank you, Do It Now.
Thank you, Do It. You got to find a new mission. Yep. Every day, you've got to get up and find a new mission. I think that's one thing that we see really, really often. And then there's studies that kind of go back to that mission and how that plays into veteran suicide, or increased PTSD episodes, or just general decline of mental health. Every day is a mission. You have to find your mission every day. Find something in your community. Find someone that you can mentor. Like, find something that makes you feel like you are making a difference. Find something that makes you feel whole. And like I said, as always, I always have volunteer opportunities. So if you ever just want to reach out, or if you need to be connected to someone, please don't hesitate to do that. I would be thrilled to have a conversation with you.
Outstanding. And you know how we do things towards the end here. That was a great last question there. We do have another comment from another former guest. This is from Steve Esom. He's at Warriors to Bees. They train veterans how to become beekeepers. The Bees Buzz helps warriors to bees.org. Thank you for helping vets. And he was on the show when we had technical difficulties, so we'll have about a half show with him on it. We need to get him back on here, Steve. So reach back to us. We get you back on here and have the full show and learn more about Warriors to Bees. Jake said I'll send him a calendar invite. So as we start to close out here, Shamika, again, thank you for joining us again and becoming a two-time Misfit Nation guest here and part of the family. Jake asked you these questions before, but I'll ask them again. How do we get in contact with you? If the audience, how do they get in contact with you? If they want to chat with you like we are, if they want to get more involved with Rod Lemon, or maybe if they just want to chew into your brain and find out everything you can help them with.
Perfect. Of course, you can follow us on TikTok at Transcend 214. Facebook is Rod Lemon Foundation. Our website is www.rodlemonfoundation.org. And the phone number, if you want to text, do not call me, because I am terrible with phone calls. But you can actually text me directly at area code 256-405-9016. That is the foundation line, but it does ring directly or text directly to my cell phone. So I'm always thrilled to have a conversation at any point in time. I want to serve you guys, but you guys have to let me know how to do that.
Outstanding. And I put all that into the chat. So if you're watching right now, it'll be in the chat. If you're not watching now, come back later and watch it, or it'll be in the notes. Shamika, thanks for that answer. And now I'm going to ask you my version of the question Jake asked you last time. What's 3 things the Misfit Nation audience can start doing tomorrow to be better people?
Oh, wow. Drink water. That's going to be our number one, right? Like, let's make sure we're getting our water in. To be better people in general, look, find out what's going on in your community. There is always something going on, guys. There's nonprofits out there that need support. Find something that makes you happy. there is so much joy in service, which you guys already know, right? Like, that there's joy in leadership by servitude. So let's serve some people, and get involved. If there are things about what's happening with the VA, what's happening with veterans benefits or veterans rights in your state, get involved. Find out who your representatives are. Those people work for you. So let them know what you think about the job that they're doing. Those things are very important. So those would be my top 3: drink water, find a nonprofit to support, and make sure that you are contacting your local representatives to advocate for the things that are best for you.
Outstanding. I put those in the chat as well, and they'll wind up in the Substack tomorrow when we publish that article as well. Misfit Nation, make sure you reach out to Rod Lemon Foundation, see how you can get involved in the future. Shamika, thank you again for taking some of your time to hang out with us and let the 2 little ones run wild while you're on the show. So thank you for being here.
I really do appreciate it. I don't know if you guys saw me like throwing my hand up a second ago because that door popped open and I was like, no, don't do it. Because you'll see like a little head come up behind me and then, she'll be running a podcast. I super appreciate you guys having me. Thank you so much, Rich. Love what you guys do. Love the show, and I'm thrilled to be a part of it. So thank you so much.
No problem. Keep sending people our way as well, like you have in the past. That we'll get them on the air and share their stories and get them the help they need if they're looking to grow their network.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Misfit Nation, thank you again for hanging out with us tonight on this Sunday. As I said earlier, if the storm's coming your way, just be ready. Have your go bag ready. Have your radios on, and just be prepared in case anything does happen. On another note, if you are seeing that darkness and you feel the walls caving in, don't give in to that demon. We need you here tomorrow. Tomorrow will be 100% better with you in it than it is without you. Reach out to someone in your 1-inch piece of paper in your wallet. Those 3 names that I tell you to put on there. Call them. They want to hear from you today, tomorrow, and the next day. If they don't answer for whatever reason, dial 988. Follow the prompts. If you don't want to do that, contact us. info@misfitnation.com, jake@themisfitnation.com, or steven@themisfitnation.com. We will get back to you. We will keep you on the line until we get someone local to you to come help you and give you the sources you need so you're with us tomorrow. Until next time, be hungry, stay humble, and keep hustling. Good night.
Thanks for checking us out and being a part of the Misfit Nation show. Don't forget to visit our website at themisfitnation.com. That's themisfitnation.com. Check out all our past episodes and get some of the great Misfit Nation gear for you and your family. As always, be humble, stay hungry, and keep hustling because we are Misfit Nation. Misfit Nation.